Salt has been declared the acid rain of our time. We are using too much salt on our roads. And why does that matter? Well, salt is incredibly destructive in terms of what it does to vehicles, infrastructure, etc. But what it does to water, what it's doing to the lake, what it does to drinking water, and what it does to our personal health. We have seen a threefold increase in the level of chlorides in Lake Winnipesaukee since 1975. So the trend is heading in the wrong direction, but we're far from a tipping point. So on one hand, that should make us feel good, but it shouldn't make us complacent. What we do need to do is work together. And if we work together, we can solve this problem here and now. And some of you, and you're going to hear from our panelists, are already taking steps or already making strides to do just that.
We know that salt use statewide has more than doubled in the last 40 years, and we also know that it is affecting our water bodies. Chlorides show up on our list of horrible chemicals for the environment. So we treat this as a toxic because it is toxic to fish. This is what chlorides look like. This is parts per million. And this is specific conductance, which is a proxy for chlorides. And this is in our rivers. And we see that since 1990, again, we've had nearly almost a doubling of specific conductance in our rivers. And that's kind of amazing because this includes, the Androscoggin, the Connecticut, the Merrimack, the Sago, really big watersheds that have a lot of nothing in them. And yet we still see this signature across the board. And it gets back to this idea that we are using an awful lot of salt in the state. Salt isn't the enemy. We are going to be using salt to protect public safety for a very long time. There aren't that many great alternatives, but over-salting is the program. We use 30 to 60% more salt than we need to get the public safety result that we want. It changes radically the fundamental basis of the ecology of a water body. We are all the polluters. Every single one of us, we've met the enemy, we are they, that we all have to take this on. And again, this is a problem that can be fixed.
Our number one goal for Public Works is making sure our town roads are clear, safe roads for the residents and emergency vehicles year-round. We also look at lake protection and preserving the water quality in Lake Winnipesaukee and our local streams and ponds. What are we doing as a community, as a department, to try to get a better handle on this and make data-driven decisions? We produce, with all the data we collect, a storm report. We track the number of storm, the date, when the storm started, when it finished, what type of precipitation it was, the temperatures, the high and the low, visibility, the type of application we did during that storm event. We're able to monitor and track all of our staff and the amount of hours that they put into the storm, as well as all of our equipment and those rates of what we use for each storm event. And at the bottom here, we also track all our contractors who are doing emergency lane work. So with all this data that we collect, this particular storm, you can see up there, was almost a $40,000 storm event. We developed a program called the Sustainable Winter Management Program. It's a set of standards that we actually followed in the Lake George story that we'll talk a little bit about here at the end as part of our success. But really with a couple of missions here, but really not only protecting our water, but protecting our future, right? And I think as a contractor, I think about this as protecting the future of your business too. So this salt reduction thing, from my experience, both as a contractor and now as a person and as a team of people that we're trying to enable a better way of practicing that doesn't necessarily require as much salt. So it's more about the sustainability of our business. What SWIM is standards of policy that enable standards of practice. And it really inspires, this loop here is drawn here for a reason. So this is a continuous improvement loop that we think about. And we start with one common practice, which is that which is measured can be improved. We've been reducing by at least 50% anywhere we deploy these standards. It's like shooting fish in a barrel is what I always say, because we start with the measuring. You can immediately start to see, like if you're a contractor with a fleet of 10, 15, 50 trucks, you could have the same exact spreader set at the same exact gate. And a lot of times we call that calibrated. because we're all the same gate setting. It is not putting out the same amount of salt. I guarantee it. These are the standards of policy, measuring outputs, measuring level of service, calibration, preventing the bond. Our roads are like a stick frying pan. When you don't do something correctly with it, what does that cleanup process look like? It's soap, scrub, more soap, more scrub. For us, the soap is salt and the scrub is the scrape of the plow, right? So breaking the bond usually takes somewhere between 4 to 10 times more effort and material to break that bond rather than to actually prevent it to begin with. It's the lines in the road that you start to see some doing, but we need to be doing that in parking lots. We need to be doing that on sidewalks. As a homeowner, you're able to do that as well. The most efficient way to do that is with brine, but brine's scared because brine's different. And the first thing that our psyche thinks about is like, it looks like water, therefore it's going to freeze. It's not water though, it's salt water, right? And so these are all these things that we have to change our mindsets on. This is what the process looks like, but the main point is we're here. We always call the first year season 0. We're here. We don't know anything yet, essentially. But like our Lake George example, we're 10 years into it. Now, there's a lot of results going on, but boy, it took about 5 years to finally get to where we could get to an improvement level, right? And an optimization level. I think we can do that faster here. The buy-in is already way ahead of where we started years ago in that initiative. And so that's where I feel, quite a bit more optimistic about this. Site weather stations, these are RWIS technology usually. So we want to see those on the roads. We're measuring not only level of service, and those are pictures. That's both decision-making, documentation, verification, but we're looking at air temperature, we're looking at surface temperature, and we're applying that then back to performance so that we can even show operators and give them more confidence that, hey, look, this truck that put down half achieved the same level of service that you did, so it's okay. We can dial your truck down next time. We good? But sometimes you need the picture to give the confidence. And that's why the performance-based contracts are so much more important, because it's not about an amount anymore. It's about a level of service being achieved. So the customer should not care about how long it takes, how often it takes, or how much it takes, right, as far as quantity. They should just care about that level of service. So we have to sell it that way in the future. In Lake George, where Eric and I first started, this was back at least 5 years ago. They're even greater than this now, but their salt savings has been at least 50%. We've seen it go up to about 75% since they incorporated direct liquid application routes. And then the cost savings, just in the material costs and the savings of the frequencies, that's been at least about a 25% savings now. And we're seeing that consistently. And that's the other point, is sustaining these results. This is one of the major streams that feed directly into Lake George, the Hagberg, which is sort of northern end of Lake George, northwestern end of Lake George. And then the scientists are saying, the data suggests in some of the areas where we're measuring, where there's been hot spots in that lake, the data suggests that we are actually on a downward trend. So this is, Lake George really has become the epicenter of this, and also the proof case of this. And so this is where the confidence lies, and we can actually start to achieve results. The more of us that are doing this simultaneously, consistently, the faster we'll start to see those results. Here's my call to action. And really the big call to action, really just shifting our mindsets a bit, right? So we're all afraid of change. We're not necessarily changing. We're just kind of enhancing the way that we do it now, is the way I'd like to sell it. So we have to first make sure that everyone understands. So I believe every single person that's in our organizations, whether you're municipal or private contractor, it's important that everybody understands this is a pollutant. Just because we're allowed to use it doesn't mean it's not bad, right? And I'm still amazed at how many salt truck drivers that I meet and work with don't actually know that. So that's our responsibility as the business owners or the leaders of the organizations, to make sure people understand that. Contracts, we talked about this before, they should be based on performance and level of preparedness. So we're fire departments. Our success should not be based on number of fires. Our success is based on our level of preparedness. So, because we have some years here where it doesn't snow almost or barely, and then we had this year.
But we're still expected to achieve the same level of service no matter what. So we should be paid for that. We should be paid for that. Or we should actually be funded like that. And then decisions based on data. No more winging it. But we're the snow industry. We are the salt application industry. And so therefore, we have a responsibility to be doing this not as a sideshow, but as a main focus. It's a separate business, right? And I know I've seen some of the names in the room. I think you do take it seriously. We've got to get that message made clear to everyone.
A contractor, probably with help of someone like Phill, can learn ways to make the same amount of money, if not more, have way more respect from the homeowner. I think it can be a more profitable situation with less salt. I mean, I'm in the business of selling it, but I'm fine with selling less. If the big picture, the greater picture is we've got lakes and streams that are here forever. I mean, that's why these people are here.
I'm actually pretty impressed to see how many contractors are in this room tonight. I think really we need kind of a contractor alliance, kind of all banding together to offer this new level of service and care for the environment. And I think the private residents out there that are going to be taking this stuff on are going to realize, well, if I go to this guy or that guy, they're all kind of pitching the same concept, like this is the way forward. So I think it's going to be that. And yeah, there's going to be people that don't adopt this, but eventually the masses will, and we're going to be moving in the right direction.
On behalf of the Moultonborough Conservation Commission, I wanted to thank everyone, residents and contractors alike. Your presence shows your commitment to the community and the protection of our treasured natural resource. A heartfelt thank you to our outstanding speakers. Your knowledge with us, your expertise and passion inspires us to take action to reduce chloride usage on our properties and our commercial enterprises. I think we're going to be looking at some more of this kind of collaboration on how we can together work and collaborate to protect our valued natural resource here in the Lakes region. Thank you.